what then can be done when somebody may have been in the faith for a long time, and then they seriously want to have their faith grow, but then they have the problem of still finding themselves frustrated with some things that are not so supposed to really frustrate people, and then they also find that the things that they are asking for from the things they are expecting from God are the superficial things, so that they will be more likely to want to hear a message because it is on how they can get double measure of this and this and that. For somebody who is in that situation, but he's now thinking, I want to grow and be more mature, what are the ways, the steps to move?
You know, your question is is pregnant because I can interpret it a few ways.
Okay.
So, sometimes it's not a fault of the individual.
Wow.
It's a fault of the food they're eating. What do I mean by that? If like if there were kids at a certain age here, and I said, take you to McDonald's, they can all jump and be happy. We're going to McDonald's and be excited, But if I gather a group of adults, 30-year-olds, and go taking them to McDonald's, the excitement is not going to be. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes we as pastors keep feeding the people kid stuff. We're feeding them happy meals. Meals that Satan is the architect of any frustration. You are absolved from any wrongdoing, and God is the giver of every good thing. I call that immature stuff. Is it wrong? It's not wrong. It's true. But it's not that simple.
I see.
It's not simple you cannot absorb your behavior from anything that is happening to you. And it's not always Satan, sometimes you. Are you getting it? Sometimes the prayer is not being answered because that is not being answered is an answer to the prayer.
Wow.
You see, but sometimes when you are not mature enough, you think that it has not been answered.
Yeah.
Paul said that for this thing I besought the Lord 3 times. And he said his grace is sufficient for me. What he meant was that God never gave him the thing he was asking for. The relief he wanted, he was talking about a thorn in his flesh, and he wanted the relief, and God said, my grace is sufficient. Which means that God did not answer him in the way he wanted to be answered. But the answer was nevertheless came as, my grace is sufficient. So lean on the grace and go through with this thorn in your flesh. That's matured stuff.
Yeah.
That most charismatic, if you like, churches don't preach it these days. It's all you will receive, you'll be the head, you'll be blessed. And those things are not wrong, but they are immature stuff. God is not Santa Claus. He's not there doling and sweets and things to us. Yeah. No, sometimes he expects us to do certain things.
Wow.
Are you with me? Yeah. So sometimes he says he's called us to suffer. Yeah, but we don't teach that.
I don't remember how many times I've heard that from other churches.
Yeah, we don't teach that in the church. When in Acts chapter 9, when Paul was called, he said that I will show him how much things he ought to suffer for my sake.
Wow.
I don't think that was only for Paul. It was for all of us. In Matthew 11:28, it says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I'll give you rest. And he said, take upon you my yoke, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Which means that he has a yoke and he has a burden. We only exchange our heavy yoke and our heavy burden for his yoke and his burden. So Christianity is not a walk in the park that you don't carry your burden free, yoke free. You have a yoke to spread the word of God. But most churches don't preach that. And so we stunt the growth of the Christians. Tell them to kids, because they are eating kid food. You are what you eat. So when you eat immature food, you remain immature. Your brains don't develop, your muscles don't develop, so you stay in the give me state. And that is the type of Christians we are raising these days. So it's every prayer is about God give me.
This is hard. Wow. So it's really about the Christian taking it seriously upon himself to make sure that he cultivates his personal relationship with God, and with the reading of the Word and with prayer, he or she is going to see himself expecting much more mature things than just the sweet stuff, which you made the analogy to toffees, to more mature stuff like what?
Like the writer of Hebrews says that as for the time you ought to be teachers, you still have need to be taught the simple basic principles. Which means that there's a time you have to mature to teach others, to bring others up. But you have been so lazy and so dependent on others that you still need to be fed. And he goes on to say that these principles we don't have to leave. We have to return to these basic principles, but we need to go into more mature stuff. We need to start eating hard meat, hard bone. You have to chew bones, not milk. Milk is a good start, but you have to, by the reason of exercise, you mature yourself, which means that Christianity is meant to stretch us as we walk in a relationship with God. We are meant to be stretched and become stronger and more mature, more independent of this baby stuff. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Go deeper, become more teaching others, reaching out to others, helping others, rather than it being all about you.
Wow.
Children are the most selfish people in the home. They never add anything, they never contribute anything, but they want everything. I had a baby, a 1 month baby in my house just a couple of days ago, and in the middle of the night, this baby would not stop. He would cry and wake everybody up and get everybody running around, him. And it's like when he's sleeping and doesn't feel your hand around him, he wakes up and starts to cry. That's what Christians are like. And it's nobody, I was sick, nobody came to visit me. I haven't been there, no, and I. They don't contribute anything to the house.
Wow.
They don't add anything. They eat. They want you to carry them. They want you to pamper them. They want you to clean them when they saw themselves. And that's all. And like most of the Christians that have been raised today are like that. It's all about what they can get. Not what they can contribute to the house. You see, mature people contribute to the house.
Yeah.
You see, I contribute to my home. I don't just take, I contribute to it.
Wow.
So as I sit here, I'm responsible for the lives of a few more people. So my going and coming affects them. Yeah. That's what mature people do. It's not about you, it's about others. You contribute to making the house or the home, a place to live.
Wow. This is mature stuff. Right, thank you very much. I'll say this where we would end it. We have just gone through dealing with delayed blessings, how to make your faith grow, and certainly burning the ships. But I think that theme of maturity runs through all of them, because it takes a mature mind and a mind that is focused on the more important things that would see that the ships need to be burned. And it takes a more mature mind to say that, no, if my blessings are delaying, I will not sit and wait. I will do the things that I'm supposed to do to line myself up with a blessing. And certainly it takes a mature mind to have one's faith grow, so that certainly, like he said, God will say that you are a good and faithful servant. Reverend, you have been a good and faithful interviewee. And we say God bless you very much.
My pleasure.